does Carson Wentz make the Colts legit contenders in the AFC?
Legit contenders? No, because I don't know if Carson Wentz is going to be legit as a Colt. And that's just facts. Like, Carson Wentz has been a little yin-yang in terms of his career. I talked about the regression compared to himself in the last couple of seasons, but more importantly, just overall, like, he's barely above 500 as a starting quarterback, 35, 32-1. Okay, that's cool. You're a winner at least, barely. But if you take away that magical season, which I don't like to do, but I just want to highlight how he's been the rest of the time, 24, 30-1 in 4 seasons. Uh-oh. So who are you getting, Carson Wentz, in terms of his potential? Is he going to go back to 2017, or is he going to give you what he's been giving you for the other 4 seasons? So now you start to look around, you start to see, man, we have what it takes, because Phillip Rivers showed us we were that close to beating the Buffalo Bills last year, which was a really interesting game. They had 472 yards, 0 turnovers, and still lost that ball game by 3 points. Woo! Special performance by that team, especially Phillip Rivers, but close is not good enough. Let's look at Carson Wentz in this situation. This is what's sad. When I look at Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Kyle Allen, I look at quarterbacks that have better completion percentages than my man Carson Wentz the last 2 years, so Acho can understand. I'm talking about 2020 and 2019. When I look at Gardner Minshew and Derek Carr, I look at quarterbacks that have more passing yards per game than this same Carson Wentz. When I look at Phillip Rivers, as I mentioned, and Jared Goff, who nobody seemed to want, but he landed, have better passer ratings than this same Carson Wentz. I don't know if the plug and play is going to work, because Phillip Rivers did something special with his team last year. Wait and see if Carson Wentz can duplicate that same thing.
Man, I do think that the Colts are legit contenders with Carson Wentz. But first off, let's talk about it like this. In the AFC, you got the Chiefs standing head and shoulders above the rest, at least a head above the rest. Now, everybody else, you have the Browns, I would say the Ravens, I would say the Bills, I would say the Colts, I would say the Titans, all kind of muddied up in that picture of who is next. You can't tell me that Carson Wentz doesn't elevate that Colts team that's muddied up in that picture. I'm not saying they're going to be Super Bowl champs, but they're definitely legit contenders who can beat the Browns, the Ravens, the Bills on any given day. I also think about, Sel, you got to go to head coach quarterback combination. That's actually an indicator of success.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, great combination. They won the Super Bowl this year. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, great combination in the Super Bowl this year. Now you start to get to the AFC. I'm going to take Carson Wentz and Frank Wright just as much as I'm going to take Josh Allen. I'm going to take Carson Wentz and Frank Wright just as much as I'm going to take Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh. I think that they are right there up in the conversation in the AFC as legitimized contenders. But then when you look at the Colts, top 10 offense, top 10 defense. Not many teams in the NFL are top 10. 3 points away from beating the Bills. 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from beating the Bills in that playoff game. You're telling me that Carson Wentz, reunited with Frank Wright, isn't better than Phillip Rivers at 39 years of age with Frank Wright? That's where you're wrong. That's where the difference lies. Legit contenders with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, this is something funny because I've been beating up on Carson Wentz for it seems like a full year. But what I'm going to do, homie, and I know, Marcellus, this is going to be tough for you. I'm going to flip sides, homie.
Man.
I'm going to say that they are contenders in this situation with Carson Wentz. And the reason why they're contenders is because Frank Wright knows exactly about Carson Wentz. And one of the big misnomers about Carson Wentz, it wasn't that he's not good. He just doesn't know his role. See, when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, he thought he was a lead actor. He thought it should be about him, that his name should be on the marquee, that he was the star of the show. But that's not how he's always been his most successful. When you go back and look at how he played successfully at North Dakota State, he was a supporting actor, meaning he only managed the team. He didn't have to do everything. He only threw the ball about 24.9 times per game. He was a part of 5 straight national champions. When you think to his 2017 year when he was at an MVP level, do you know it was the fewest pass attempts per game that he ever had? He only averaged 33. In all the other years, it was always up 36, 37 per. So Frank Wright knows less Carson Wentz is better, more bang for the buck. So in this situation, when you have a team with a dominant offensive line, young running backs that can run, Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, a top 10 defense, they absolutely are contenders because Frank Wright knows, Carson, this isn't about you. It's about the team. We don't need great. We only need good. And if we get good quarterback play, we'll win. So, yes, they're contenders because they won't ask Carson to step outside of his role. They will have him as a supporting actor, not as the lead actor.
Good to see you wake up.
Man, I ain't never seen a movie budget where they paying somebody like they the lead actor, but they ain't asking them to go out there and read the most lines. Oh, sucker getting $98 million. You ain't no supporting actor. This is your movie, bruh. It's going to go or it's not going to go based on you. I love you, Bucky, boy. I listen to everything Bucky says. Bucky's funny. Bucky said, at North Dakota State, when he won 5 national championships, he threw for only about 24.9. That's exact. What you mean only about? 24.9 ain't no about.
I can't remember.
You
I had
went right to it.
Remember.
And I love that. Because, Bucky, I don't wear glasses, but I feel like I'm a nerd, too. Like, this is something I want to bring up. History. I want to bring up some numbers that don't suggest that we're going to get a good version of Carson Wentz since we saw what we saw from him last year. Let's talk about quarterbacks that threw for under the Mendoza line in football. That's under 60% completion percentage. And then they threw for over 15 or more picks. Let me tell you how those quarterbacks fared. I'm going to give you some names. Donovan McNabb did that. And after that season, that 2010 season when he did it, he went 1-5. Fitzpatrick did it. 47-63. Grossman did it. He never started again. It was a wrap for him. Eli Manning did it. 39-60. Joe Flacco did it. 36-43. Matthew Stafford did it. 50-53. Brock Osweiler did it. 2-7. Man, y'all better get out of my face. These dudes, once they hit that point, once you hit that low point in your 5th year or later, when you're supposed to already know, the history shows those cats don't recover. You weren't here, Bucky, when we talked about this. That going back to your ex is a failure sport. Have you ever done that, Buck? You went back, you checked your phone. Back in your days, I don't know what that was, Rolodex. You went back and said, man, I wonder what Maisha up to now. It's been 11 years since you've seen Maisha, but you're going to call Maisha up like it's just been yesterday. And then you talking on the phone, Maisha, and you're like, she didn't sound like that before, but that's all good because it's still Maisha. That's how Frank Reich feel right now. The first press conference talking to Carson Wentz, he like, that don't sound like Carson Wentz, but that's okay because it's Carson Wentz. He gonna find out when he keep going out with Carson Wentz on practice fields, game fields, that maybe some things has changed. Maisha ain't the same.
Hey, bro, where do you even get a Maisha from with Bucky Brooks?
Man,
you've been on Facebook, you've been on MySpace too long.
I've been on Edgemore and Slauson too long. Tatiana, you want to keep going?
Look, that's the only thing I'm going to say to give these Colts fans some hope. The framework of the Indianapolis Colts right now is very similar to the framework of the Eagles when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Eagles didn't have a star receiver the year they won a Super Bowl. They had Alshon, they had Nelson Aguilar, they had Zach Ertz, they had Torrey Smith. They didn't have a guy. An individual became the guy on a week-in and a week-out basis. Right now, the Colts don't have a guy. Now, the Colts still need to try to acquire a receiver in the draft and acquire a left tackle. But given that, the framework is similar. Colts have all-pro, Pro Bowl offensive linemen, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they had Pro Bowl, all-pro type of offensive linemen. Lane Johnson, you had Jason Kelsey because Jason Peters got hurt at the left tackle. The Eagles had a good defense. The Colts have a solid defense. The framework is very similar, and let's not forget the biggest piece. Frank Reich is there. Colts fans, get excited because y'all legit contenders in the AFC.